Hello and welcome into another video on this channel. Today we will be talking about GitHub Copilot and how we can extend our workflow to use GitHub Copilot in Visual Studio Code. So GitHub Copilot is an AI assistant which can speed up a little bit your development workflow. It is created by GitHub and using OpenAI ChatGPT underneath. It is trained on a lot of public repos, and it can, depending on the context on what you ask about it, it will try to help you with your code. So let's hop into Visual Studio Code and see how we can use it. And we are in Visual Studio Code. So to use GitHub Copilot, you should install the extensions. As you can see here, if you will go to a marketplace and type Copilot, there will be two extensions, GitHub Copilot and GitHub Copilot Chat. We will firstly talk about GitHub Copilot, but we will later use Chat as well to show you how we can use it. So if you will install the GitHub Copilot, which I already did, you will need to authenticate it using your GitHub account, and Copilot is a paid one. It costs, I think, $10 a month. If you will pay it upfront for the whole year, it will be $100. So let's try to use it. Let's go back to Explorer, and I will be using JavaScript, and we will create a basic Node.js Express application with that. So let's do npm init -y so that we don't be asked the questions, and let's install Express. And then let's create a very basic server.js file, and here you can even see already press Mac-I to ask GitHub Copilot to do something, or you can click here and let's ask him for something. So create basic Node.js Express app, and it will go ahead and generate as a code. Let's click accept here, and as you can see, it did it properly. So it imported the Express application, it instantiated the Express app, created a variable with a port, created a basic apt-get route, and did an app listen. So let's launch it, Node server, and let's create another terminal window, and let's do a curl to localhost 3000. And as you can see, we get the proper response. Let's try for him to do something more here. So let's say that we would like to calculate the Fibonacci for this particular route. Let's add, let's say, a number here. And then let's remove this res_send, and let's try to const. When I start to write, it already tries to get to know what I would like to do from the context. So it says that I want to get the number from params, and that's actually what I want to do. But let's say I don't want to resend this number already. I want to create a Fibonacci function, and it tries to, from the beginning, like I did a const Fibo. You probably want to create a Fibonacci. Yes, I want to create Fibonacci. One more thing that you can use, when you will use alt and brackets, you can try to go through different proposals. As you can see right now, here I have only two, which differs in this semicolon. So let's click tab to autocomplete it, and then I clicked only enter, and it's trying to give me another line of code. So I want to do that, and I want to resend the result. So let's start it one more time. Let's get back to this console, use the curl, but let's pass number 5 here. And as you can see, the Fibonacci of 5 is 8. So that makes sense. And that works. So that's basically the idea about Copilot and how we can speed up a little bit of your workflow. You need to be mindful of that it doesn't always give you what you want. The context is usually around this one file. So if you are creating bigger application, let's say I would have the controller here in a separate file, routes in a separate files, my middlewares, some validators, and so on, it cannot grasp the full application. So you need to be very careful. It really does the good job with some boilerplates and some basic stuff. It can suggest you some solutions, but you need to test everything by yourself and check this code out. So let's try to use Copilot chat right now. I will go to the chat here, and let's say I have this apt-get route with number and this Fibonacci. I know for a fact that this Fibonacci is not a 100% performance solution because we are calculating the Fibonacci all the time, and we can use something called caching and memoization to make it more performant. So let's ask GitHub Copilot, make Fibonacci more performant. And let's see if it will come with this solution. You have a brief explanation here. To make the Fibonacci function more performant, we can use memoization to store the results of previously computed Fibonacci numbers. This avoids the exponential time complexity of the recursive approach by ensuring each Fibonacci number is calculated only once. Here is the updated code. And as you can see, the difference is here that we are passing the memo blank object and we are checking if the Fibonacci was already calculated. If not, we are calculating one more time, and if we are calculating the new Fibonacci, it's passing it to this memo. So let's copy all of that and let's paste it here. And let's run it one more time. Okay, we have an error right now. Express is undefined. As you can see here, it's something that I told you already before. We took this updated code, but it didn't account for this first line about importing the express, because this was our previous implementation. So the code should be copied from here, but it didn't account for that. So that's why you need to double check everything. So let's run it now, and let's do it a new line character here so that we would know. Okay, and let's run it here in a split mode. Server is running here, and here let's do a curl. The Fibonacci is 5. We can pass it whatever we want here. It's optimized right now, so it's calculating very fast. And that's the basic idea about GitHub Copilot extension with Visual Studio Code. You can use it, you don't need to use it, but you can start a free trial. I think it's for a month, and you can see if it works for you. See you next time.